Today we're going to explore a difficult but liberating truth. If you are the target of jealousy, you have done nothing wrong. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where, despite being quiet and keeping to yourself, you face unreasonable jealousy or hostility from others? You might start to wonder, did I do something wrong? Why am I being targeted like this? The reality is, the psychology of those who project jealousy has a surprising background, and it has nothing to do with you. There are people who will decide you are their enemy without any justification. Drawing on the wisdom of the great Japanese monk Kūkai, who taught that the heart of jealousy is born from the distinction between oneself and others, we will delve deep into how to handle this irrational animosity. For more insights that blend ancient wisdom with modern psychology to help you find peace, be sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. First, let's understand the mind of the person who feels jealous. Knowing why they target you can bring a sense of relief as you begin to realize you are not the problem. One of the biggest triggers for jealousy isn't distance, but closeness. When someone perceives a person as being in a completely different league, a celebrity, a genius, a CEO, they often feel admiration or respect. They can accept the distance, saying, that person is on another level. However, intense jealousy ignites when they feel someone is on the same field as them. Yet they sense that this person's vessel might be larger. The moment they perceive you as a peer who might actually be superior, their ego feels threatened. A subconscious thought process kicks in. We're supposed to be at the same level. I refuse to lose to them. This is rooted in an unwillingness to admit that someone else might be better. Deep down, they may know you possess superior qualities, but their pride won't let them acknowledge it. So what do? They attack. This aggression is a defense mechanism, a way to avoid the painful feeling of inferiority. It's proof of a deep-seated complex within them. They lash out at you simply because your presence inadvertently pokes at their insecurities. You have no fault in this. They are simply projecting their own issues onto you. This is where Kūkai's teaching becomes so relevant. He said, the heart of jealousy is born from Kaga, which refers to the separation we create between him and me. It is the act of comparison that gives birth to envy. From the jealous person's perspective, they are caught in a contradiction. They believe there should be no significant difference between you and them, yet they can't help but feel one. To preserve their own fragile sense of self, they may resort to attacking you, hoping to establish a sense of dominance. Now let's look deeper into why you, specifically, might be the target, even when you've done nothing wrong. It's crucial to understand that you are not being attacked for a flaw, but for a strength. You are targeted because you possess immense value and charm. This phenomenon can be described as the Gulliver pretending to be a squirrel syndrome. Even if you genuinely believe you are not remarkable, others may see you as a person of great substance. Your skills, your character, or even your calm and gentle demeanor can make people secretly think, there's more to this person than meets the eye. However, you, in an effort to fit in, may deliberately act reserved and unassuming. You are a giant, like Gulliver, trying to act like a small, harmless squirrel. To onlookers, this creates a sense of dissonance. It doesn't quite add up. They start to think, I can't figure them out. And this uncertainty breeds suspicion and jealousy. This gap between your self-perception and your actual presence is a major trigger. Modest and quiet people tend not to overstate their own worth. You might think, what I'm doing is normal, it's nothing to brag about. But from an outsider's perspective, they see it very differently. Actually, what you're doing is incredibly high level. You are far more capable than you let on. This disconnect becomes the spark that ignites their inferiority complex. Because you don't project loud confidence, your quiet competence and inner charm can be even more unsettling to them. The issue they should be confronting is their own sense of inadequacy. But because facing that is too painful, they turn their focus outward, toward you. They use aggression as an outlet because they are afraid to look inward. The most important takeaway here is that you, the person receiving the jealousy, are not at fault. The other person is simply avoiding their own opportunity for growth and blaming you instead. When you see it this way, you can start to let go of the burden. So how should you deal with these unfair attacks? You understand it's not your fault. But how can you find peace? Let's discuss practical strategies that protect you while minimizing the aggressor's impact. The first step is to fully acknowledge your own greatness. Quiet people in particular often feel they should remain humble and not stand out, and in doing so, they overlook their own value. A core concept in Kūkai's philosophy is Sokushin Jobutsu, the idea that one can attain enlightenment in this very body. This teaching is a powerful reminder of our immense innate potential. It is a message that everyone is a magnificent being and has every right to be confident. If your default mindset is, "I'm not worth much," you create that gap we talked about, the one that invites jealousy. Therefore, by affirming to yourself, "I have value, I am okay just as I am," you build an inner resilience that makes you less susceptible to external attacks. Secondly, stop shrinking yourself excessively. When targeted by jealousy, the natural instinct is to become even quieter, to try to be less visible. However, this can backfire. It can make you appear more suspicious and confirm their belief that you have a hidden side. Instead, strive to be your natural self. It's fine to not constantly advertise your achievements, but there's no need to intentionally diminish yourself. Even if you are envied, remember that it is their problem, not yours. When you correctly assess your own worth and carry yourself with quiet dignity, you will naturally attract more allies and supporters. A third strategy is to maintain distance while holding on to compassion. Another of Kūkai's teachings is Jita Funi, which means that self and other are not two, we are fundamentally interconnected. The person attacking you is, in their own way, suffering. However, this does not mean you have to get close to them or try to fix them. If you are on the receiving end of unreasonable aggression, create a healthy distance. Reduce your points of contact. If this is happening with a neighbor or in a hobby group, perhaps limit your interactions to protect yourself from further harm. It's important to adopt the mindset, "I understand they are probably in pain, but I am under no obligation to be drawn into their drama." Finally, have the courage to reassess your environment. If the intense jealousy continues unabated, consider changing your surroundings. This could mean transferring to a different department at work, changing your living situation, or finding a new community. You might think, "I'm already settled here, I should just endure it." But you do not need to subject yourself to constant emotional injury. You have the right to choose a place where your value can shine. Since the time of Kūkai, people have journeyed to find the right place for their practice and growth. You should not hesitate to search for your next stage. In closing, I want to emphasize this one more time. The person being targeted by jealousy is not the one at fault. If you stand out despite being quiet, it is because you have charm and ability. We can even reverse Kūkai's teaching, "The heart of jealousy is born from Kaga," and use it to our advantage. If we strive not to separate them and me, we can maintain a mindset free of comparison. We can think, "The person attacking me is also just a human being, fighting their own battle with their own complexes." With this perspective, there is no need to belittle or blame yourself. The moment you truly recognize your own worth, their hostility ceases to be a threat. You'll be able to see their attacks for what they are, a problem that belongs to them, and you can create the emotional distance needed to protect yourself. Their jealousy is their issue, and you will no longer be easily shaken by it. Your quiet nature is not a weakness. You don't need to force yourself to be more outgoing. Quiet people possess a gentle strength and often have an aura that makes others feel at ease. Ironically, this is sometimes why they become targets, but that is never your responsibility. If your current environment doesn't suit you and the attacks don't stop, moving to a place that is worthy of you is a valid choice. You always have the power to change your situation. There is no need to keep making yourself small. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had a moment where you realized your own bigness in a situation like this? Share your experience in the comments. It could help someone else going through the same thing. Subscribe to the channel.